The PC behind me is my main editing workstation and it's the lifeblood of my YouTube channel. It edits every single video and every single video is also uploaded from it. So I think it's fitting to give it a bit of an upgrade. I've been on the fence about doing it for quite a while, but thanks to my friends over at Be Quiet, that is now a possibility. So a massive shout out to those guys, really good guys over at Be Quiet. So I'm not going to be doing any performance upgrades today per se, but I'm getting a new case, a new cooler, which might be cutting it a bit short with the 13700K, but I think we might be alright with this 240mm Silent Loop 2. And I'm also half and half on a power supply. Currently I've got a 1000 watt Be Quiet Straight Power 12, which is an awesome power supply, but Be Quiet also sent out an 850 model of the same lineup, so I'm thinking maybe we keep the 1000 watt in there and use the 850 in another project, because I do have a gaming PC build planned sometime in the near future, so make sure you stay subscribed for that. So I might keep the same power supply in there. Also, I went out and bought some power supply extension cables because I want this PC to look pretty good, and Reaper cable, they're featured here on the channel before, but I did buy these ones, they didn't send them out. So without any more talking, let's get this PC all upgraded and get it looking quite a bit fresh. So it's about a week since I recorded the intro to this video, as I just really wanted to get this PC build done. But more importantly, I really wanted a brand new case. My old NZXT H700 was a bit of a hotbox, and when you pair that with a 13700K, it's kind of a recipe for disaster. So that's why I asked Be Quiet to send out their Shadowbase 800DX case, and let me tell you now, as you could probably see behind me, this case is absolutely massive. It will fit E-ATX motherboards, so if you wanted a very high-end, maybe a Threadripper system maybe, this case would be perfect for it. But the downside to that is if you've got a smaller system like mine, like I've got a regular size ATX motherboard and a pretty small looking GPU with the RK750, it does look kind of silly, but not too bad, I suppose. And talking of big things, this case will support two 420mm radiators, one on the top and one in the front. So if you need an extreme cooling solution, maybe you're running, I don't know, a 14900K, because let's be honest, that CPU is not easy to cool, and something like an RTX 4090 or maybe a high-end Quadro solution, and you wanted to custom loop it, you can have two 420mm radiators in this case. And unlike my old NZXT H700, the front panel is all mesh with a dust filter behind it, and this drastically improves airflow. Also included from the factory are three 140mm Pure Wings 3 PWM fans. These are absolutely great for airflow, and I even added my old Pure Wings 2 in the back because I wanted 3 as the intake. And this setup works perfectly fine for my 13700K, and let me tell you now, this is an absolute furnace of a CPU, so it's good to see some airflow in this case. Speaking of my CPU and cooling, to tame the 13700K's temperatures, I opted with the Silent Loop 2 240mm AIO. At first I was a bit skeptical because I had a 360mm cooler, but to be fair, I don't really use my CPU all the time to its full extent. It's usually used in short bursts with video editing, as the GPU does pick up a lot of the slack, so I'm not really that concerned by 240mm. However, if I needed more cooling potential, Be Quiet also sell a 360mm version of the Silent Loop 2, so that is always an option. But to be honest, in my week of using this, my cooling has been totally fine and I've had zero issues. One thing I can definitely get used to though is how silent this cooler is. After all, it's got silent in the name, which is good because those Silent Wings 3 are virtually inaudible on idle, which is exactly what you want. They do pick up a bit if your CPU is running an all-core load, but that's to be expected. I'd rather it ramp up a bit and call the CPU than let the CPU cook itself to death. And there's no horrible pump noise either, which is great to see or hear, as you won't see pump noise. That doesn't make sense, which is nice to hear, I suppose. Also, it looks as good as it performs as well, with addressable RGB, which is controllable with motherboard software, and to be honest, I'll just leave it on yellow as I don't like flashy RGBs, you probably know by now. It's got a brushed finish on top of the CPU block, and the Be Quiet logo is lit up as well with a white LED, which looks quite great. Looping back to the start of the video, and I said I was probably going to stay with the 1000 watt straight power 12, and that's what I did, mainly because it was slightly easier to do because I didn't need to change cables or change a power supply or anything like that. And originally these parts were for a different project which I've had to put on the back burner for now, so that will be coming at some point, just bear with me. But the 850 watt model is equally as good as the 1000 watt if you don't require the extra power. The straight power 12 lineup of power supplies are available between 750 and 1500 watt, and they all have 80 plus platinum. So if power consumption is a concern for you and efficiency is, these power supplies with that platinum rating have you covered. They're also fully modular, and this means you only use the cables which your PC build needs. So if you don't need SATA devices, say you've got all NVMe SSDs, you don't need to bother with SATA cables, which makes cable management much easier. Like today, I didn't need any Molex adapters, so I just didn't bother with them. I've got the cables in a box. Also, shout out to you RTX 40 series owners, you don't need to be messing around with any adapters. As this power supply is PCIe 5.0 capable, that means it has the 12 volt high power connector, which will make your PC build look a lot cleaner if you've got an Ada Lovelace GPU. Even cables from a modular power supply need to be managed, and good news, the Shadowbase 800DX offers a lot of cable routing opportunities. Because it's so big, it's kind of easy to cable manage in this case, and it means you could probably be a bit lazy and still have a somewhat clean PC, which is actually a good thing from a case as it makes the PC building process easier, and it's definitely something I took advantage of today. Also, I want to say the cable management bar does not get in the way. As an NZXT H700 owner, I know the pain of this because it was absolutely annoying in that PC case, but the cable management bar in this case is not a problem at all, and to be honest, it actually does its job quite well. As you can see, it hides the cables. Yeah, and it's a good job. Cable management is easy inside the 800DX. That is because the cable extensions that I've used today add an extra 30 centimeters of length, and the longer the cable, the harder it is to manage for the most part. But I think it's worth it because these cables look very good, particularly on the GPU, and the graphics card I went with is the Arc A750. This is one that I've been using in my PC build for about 4 or 5 months now, and to be honest, it's been an excellent GPU, particularly for video editing. And if you want to see how this GPU gets on in gaming in 2024, there's a video up there for it. So am I happy with this PC build? Definitely. I think it looks absolutely excellent on my desk, which is a good thing because it's staying there. After all, it's my editing workstation, and I'm not going to move it every time I want to do some editing or just work in general. And I know with every single PC build video I do, I like the look of the PC. I'm kind of like a broken record at this point, but honestly, this time, this PC build looks absolutely awesome in my opinion, particularly with the yellow cable extensions as well, which actually suit my watch today. I really think that add an extra bit of flair to this PC build, and they look a lot better than just regular PSU cables. No offense to you lot at Be Quiet, but regular PSU cables, no matter the PSU, don't always look that great, and cable extensions can always add that extra bit of flair to a PC build. Keeping on brand with Be Quiet, and this PC is literally very quiet, but when it's at idle, that is when the silence matters more to me, because I do a lot of recordings and voiceovers in this room, and you can probably hear how silent it is right now, even though I will be doing noise reduction in post. Either way though, the silence from this PC is nice. And this is thanks to the engineering that Be Quiet have put not only into the fans but into the case as well, as it does have sound dampening foam on the rear side panel, I think is the proper term for it, but the sound dampening foam on there. And the Pure Wings Free and Silent Wings Free fans are absolutely silent, particularly at idle. So I want to say a big thank you to Be Quiet for sending these parts over today. Make sure you check them out in the links in the description, as they do make some very cool stuff. And quiet stuff as well. So no gaming benchmarks for today, as after all this is a PC which I will be using for work, and I don't even have Steam or Epic Games downloaded on here, so no gaming benchmarks for today. But if you want to see a gaming PC build, there will be a video right up there which might be right up your alley. And with that being said, I'll catch you in the next one.